G'day guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a flip and drag tonight. Not your usual flip and drag. This one's a little bit different. I'm not going to use one of those little small containers of paint. I'm going to use a lot of paint and try and cover the whole canvas with my flip and drag. So what I'm doing now, I'm just going to quickly cover my edges with white. The white I'm using it's a thinner mix than what I would normally use. It's 4 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint, and I'm using the Global white paint. So 4 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. Now I'm just going to quickly push this paint over the edge. I use my little spatula and I'm just pushing it over the edge, and it runs down and covers the sides nicely. So I really don't want to have to tilt this canvas very much. So if I do this now, then my sides will be done and I won't have to worry about tilting. So the paints I'm using today are also the Global acrylics, and they are slightly thicker. They are going to be 3 parts paint to 1 part Floetrol, as opposed to the white, which was 4 parts Floetrol. Let's push that over the edge there. Make sure everything's covered. I can go back and touch it up later if I have to. So the amount of white paint I've got today is pretty much the same as the amount of coloured paint. So I've got a lot of white paint in here. The blue paint I'm using is my favourites, my navy blue and my cool blue. This one is a bit thicker. You have to mix that one 4 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. Don't know why it's thicker, it just is. Cobalt blue, 3 to 1. Turquoise with some white added, 3 to 1. And a little bit of green. This is it's called Green Light, also by Global. Put those out of the way. What I'm going to use for cells today is the coconut milk hair serum. So 1 drop per 30 grams of mixed paint. I weigh all my paint and Floetrol on scales. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you push too hard, you get a big blob. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't have any silicone oil in my white. So what I want to do is I'm going to put all this white on the canvas. This canvas is a 50 centimetre by 75 centimetre canvas. So as I said, lots of white paint, equal amounts of white paint to colours. So we're going to flood the canvas in white and then basically push the blue paint around. Just float it on top. And I'm going to try not to tilt very much. Don't want to tilt very much and lose my cells. With the mix quite thin like this, you do tend to get a lot of cells quite quickly. Just going to spread this out, and because those cells will pop up if I tilt, they're going to stretch, and I don't want them to do that. So lots of paint, less tilting, and hopefully it will work as planned. And because I'm doing the flip and drag, I can sort of drag the paint all over the canvas. So I can take it up to the edges, wherever I want it. cover the whole thing. These are paper cups, which I'm going to use for my dirty paws, and I'm going to use this big thumbtack to poke a hole in the bottom. That's what I've got underneath this canvas to hold it up off the bench. So that's that. Okay, now stirring, we're just going to go around a few times. A little bit more than I would normally do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About that. That's it. Just leave it. Don't want to over stir. Otherwise you'll end up with tiny little cells. Okay, now I'm going to start layering the paint in the cups. What I'm going to do is just go dark, light, not adding any extra white into these cups. Sorry if you can't see, but that's what I'm doing. I don't have any other room to put these. So I'm just going to go navy, aqua, and then cool blue, and then the cobalt blue, I'm using about half a cup at the time, a little bit of green. I think I'm going to cut back on the green this time. I had a bit too much green last time, and green just overpowers. Navy again. Use up all the navy, so I'm just layering everything in twice into these paper cups. And then the aqua again, divide that between the three. Getting some lovely cells in the cup already. And cool blue. I did this flip and drag earlier and I forgot to punch the holes in the top. And my cups didn't really float all that well. They kind of scraped the canvas, which isn't good. You really want them to float on top of that lovely thick layer of white paint you've got on the canvas. Tiny bit of green. So I'm only using half of what I've made up for the green. As I said, it's really quite overpowering. It overpowered my canvas last time. Okay. If you can see that, looks really pretty in there. I'll pop one there. I'll put them all out. Yes, put them all out for now. Poke my little hole in the top, do a few. Oops, it's starting to float away already. Just going to let that float over the top. Don't want it to touch the canvas. I don't want any bald spots on the canvas. And we'll try and cover as much as we can with these 3 cups. And off it goes with a mind of its own. Come around this side. Very pretty inside the cups. I was hoping to cover more of the edges, but it didn't work that way. Maybe I can try and push a bit over here before I head over this way. We all have a plan of what we're going to do, but it never quite ends up that way with acrylic pouring. Paint does its own thing. So as you can see, lots of cells popping up immediately. Just let it sit there for a minute. I'm going to have to do a little bit of tilting to cover this bit here that I don't really like. If I had some more paint, I could do another cup, but I don't really have time to make any more, so I'll just have to do my best. Alright, now I'm not going to torch because I don't want any more cells coming up. This is plenty, probably too many cells coming up, if there is such a thing as too many cells. Just going to see if I can get the paint to go down there a little bit. Fill in that blank area. Just tipping nice and slowly. You can see there's still quite a lot of green in here, even though I've only added half a small cup of green. Green really takes over. See if I can, oh, it's quite heavy. Let's see if I can tilt it to the corner there. Not really going to be able to move it very much more than that because I don't want all those cells to break up. So I'm just going to have to be happy with what I've got. Be strong. Stop tilting. Learn when to back away is what we need to do. So not quite what I was expecting. I was hoping for a finer look with the paint. I obviously still got too much paint on there, but I did want enough paint to cover the whole canvas. So it's a fine line between having too much paint and having not enough paint. But we have got some lovely cells, and I'm not going to torch it because I don't want anything else to come up. I think that's quite enough. I've got some cells inside cells, lots of different colours. Colours have all mixed in the cup, and we've got different shades of cells, which is really pretty. Okay, so hope you enjoyed watching that. I'll see you next time.